boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Let's discuss the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer number 2 that just dropped this morning. Originally, I would come on here and do a trailer breakdown and actually play the trailer for y'all and you know, give my reaction / breakdown. But every time I do that, every single time I get a freaking copyright claim. And it sucks when that happens. So instead, what I'll probably do is just do a little thoughts discussion here because I'm assuming that you guys have seen the trailer already. So I want to discuss what happens in the trailer and some big things for Marvel Phase 4. Really interesting. And I knew that they were going to drop trailer 2 shortly after Avengers Endgame. I knew it was going to be in May because it makes logical sense to promote the movie, and I knew it would have spoilers for Endgame. So if you haven't seen Endgame, if you're one of the few who haven't seen it, I mean, go see it, bro. Come on. But anyways, what I didn't expect was kind of the stuff that was covered in the trailer. So some people have been saying that, you know, that in this version of Spider-Man, in the MCU version of Spider-Man, that Iron Man is kind of like his Uncle Ben. What I mean by that is people are saying that, well, in traditional Spider-Man stories, Uncle Ben is the one who dies, and Spider-Man is inspired by him. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. And I can certainly see that being the case. However, based on the fact that Aunt May is single, it wouldn't surprise me that if there was an Uncle Ben already that passed away, and Iron Man dying is just another person, another tragedy for Peter to deal with. Obviously, the difference is that Uncle Ben was his actual blood relative, whereas Iron Man was like his mentor. They were very close, though. And it sucks because if you go back to Endgame, you know, they reunite during the final battle, but it's only for a few minutes. I mean, it's not even for a very long time. And it's really unfortunate because you didn't get to see, like, you know, like Peter didn't really get to really, meet Morgan and see and interact with her with Tony there. And obviously they interacted later. Very sad, but the movie's going to be dealing with Peter dealing with the passing of Tony Stark, and there's jokes in the beginning of the movie about how he's going to be the new Iron Man because he still has the Iron Spider suit. So at least for a portion of this film, he will be using the Iron Spider suit. And he says, I'm going on vacation. Then they cut to him going to Europe. Now, again, they show Ned, they show MJ. I guess that most of his class was you know, they got snapped away, I guess. But the movie does seem to deal with the consequences of the snap. Now, what do I mean by consequences of the snap? Well, the big talking point this morning that I saw all over the place was the fact that a multiverse was discussed by Mysterio. Mysterio, of course, is being played by Jake Gyllenhaal in this film. And he talks about how after the snap, now we're not sure if they mean, they haven't actually said which snap. They don't know if it's the one that Hulk did or if it's the one that Iron Man did at the end of Endgame to kill Thanos, but at some point when the snap happened, it caused some kind of rift in the dimensional fabric, and this is how Mysterio and the Elementals, who are going to be the villains of this film, were able to cross over into this world. Now, that opens up a lot of possibilities, because originally Spider-Man Far From Home was the first film in Phase 4, but now people are saying it's going to be the last film in Phase 3, which I think it should have just been Endgame because that is the climax of the Infinity Saga. Like, that's where everything should end. This is like a new beginning. And it certainly feels like a new beginning because you have to understand, I'm sure most of you already thought this, with the fact that there's a multiverse now being confirmed. And of course, this was talked about in Endgame when the Ancient One was discussing the alternate timelines, and we know that Loki has access... Loki took the cube, made a different timeline, did a whole video on that last Monday. Check that out if you haven't checked it out yet. I'll leave a link at the end of this video. There are other timelines, but no, apparently there's actually other universes like the Marvel Multiverse from the comics. I mean, what's ironic is that the MCU is actually one of the multiverses, one of the alternate Earths. You know, there's Earth 616 and Earth 288, 580. You know, there's all this wacky stuff. And meanwhile, over in DC, they have just Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3. They have the simple numbers. But the fact that it's now being discussed that there is multiverse stuff going on, this opens up a lot of possibilities, because now with the multiverse being open, we now have not only access to cosmic beings like the Beyonder, we could see Galactus, who wasn't even discussed in the MCU, crossover. Of course, the big one being the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. With this rift in the space-time continuum, for them to create Avengers versus X-Men now would be very easy. Now, Kevin Feige did say that for the next 5 years, he has no plans to bring in the X-Men. Again, I'm not sure if he'll stick to that because the movies haven't all really been made yet, so there's still time to kind of tweak things and move things around. But it would be easy not just for them to bring in the X-Men, but to bring in the actual Fox X-Men, because they could easily say that the Fox X-Men universe is an alternate universe, also in multiple timelines, thanks to Days of Futures Past. And you could easily bring back Hugh Jackman now, Patrick Stewart, or even the young cast, Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, to play these characters in the MCU, which would be the best, because there's only a very small number of human beings on this planet who can play Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman is, especially after Logan, dude, you can't, it's going to be hard to replace him, you know what I mean? I know it's like 5 years down the road, but with de-aging technology, other things they could do, they could just as easily bring in these actors and do things with them, you know, and I hope they do. The multiverse opens up a lot of other possibilities. Now, another thing that was talked about too is the fact that now we could see like a Spider-Verse type of live action film. We could see that. I don't think we're going to be getting that soon because I feel like Sony's really holding on to that Spider-Verse property. I think they're going to be putting out more animated films, which I'm really excited about because I love Spider-Verse. But I feel like they're not going to do multiple Spider-Man, at least not anytime soon, or Spider-Men, that is. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but it is possible. I just think that this rift being open opens up all kinds of possibilities to people coming in. So that's interesting. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. They're going to be working together, Spider-Man and Mysterio, in this film. Some people have been saying, oh, you know, do they work together in the comics? I believe at one time they do, but I don't remember reading the comic. Mysterio's a villain that I never thought could really work on the big screen, and Jake Gyllenhaal is making it work. It's awesome. Special effects are awesome. There's a scene where he's, you know, battling these elementals. There's like water and fire everywhere. It just looks really visually pleasing. Jake Gyllenhaal is funny because here's a guy who has been doing these auteur kind of films. I guess you can call them that. They're not really auteur films, but like he's been doing great film after great film. He's been knocking it out of the park with his performances, and now he gets to be wacky. And I'm happy for Jake Gyllenhaal because, you know, playing all these really method-acted, strong roles is one thing, but when you get to just have fun as a super villain or a superhero, it seems like it would be a better, I don't know, it just seems like it fits better with him. Maybe not fits better, but I feel like it's a breath of fresh air for him as an actor. See what I'm saying? And also notice that in this trailer, I wanted to do a quick side note here. Nick Fury did not say, Spider-Man, you know, I'm glad we're finally meeting or whatever. That was in the previous trailer because, remember, they met during Tony Stark's funeral. So that was probably just trailer nonsense, you know, them trying to screw with you, which there might be some of that in this movie as well. But it looks like Nick Fury is going to recruit Spider-Man to work with Mysterio to help him stop these otherworldly invasion situations or whatever. Again, this could lead to so many possibilities. Some people are already theorizing the Sinister Six. I have only heard that the Spider-Man franchise, this is going to be the last film under contract with Sony and the MCU. Doesn't mean they're going to make more, but this is the last one that's actually under contract. So we'll see where that goes in the future. Based on the trailer, and again, we only have a few minutes of footage here, I'm not really into the MJ Peter Parker love story in this movie. I don't think it's necessary. I think they could make her like a smart ally or a damsel in distress. I don't think either one's even necessary for this story. But again, I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm just not really invested in it. Also, the comedy seems to be kind of hit or miss in the trailer. Like, you know, the Spider-Man one-liners with the cops, I think, works. But the story with Spider-Man and like the low blow scene or whatever, that I thought was kind of lame for this trailer. Like, we'll see. The comedy and MCU stuff has to be written by a really funny director, really funny writer, that is. And it just seems kind of a miss on this trailer. But again, haven't seen the movie yet. Those are just my thoughts. Jon Favreau, I think, is going to be the glue that holds the comedy together in this movie. I'm really happy to see him there. Very sad stuff with Tony Stark. But it is going to be the story of how Spider-Man deals with it. And can Spider-Man, can Peter Parker step up and maybe not fill the shoes of Iron Man, because those are very hard shoes to fill, but can he be a hero? Because there is a whole scene in the film where he's like, hey, what about Thor? What about Captain Marvel? Can you bring them in? And, you know, Maria Hill and Nick Fury are like, no, they're not around. You know, I guess Captain Marvel's never around unless it's her own movie and Endgame. So I'm sure some folks are happy about that. But can Spider-Man fill the shoes? It does seem like a coming-of-age story this time, which I'm happy about. It could end up being like a Spider-Man 2 type thing. It definitely feels way more grandiose than I thought. way bigger scale, much bigger movie than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a small kind of friendly neighborhood Spider-Man goes to Europe, European vacation type thing. But no, there's explosions and, you know, people are in danger. So it actually is going to be an event that's probably going to be covered on television in the MCU universe, of course, like an actual big event. And Spider-Man's going to end up being the hero, him and Jake Gyllenhaal. It just sucks because I really hope this is not the last MCU Spider-Man movie. I hope they do renew the contract because I want to see more of all these characters. I really like them a lot. Well, maybe not so much MJ. I don't really care too much about them, but definitely Nick Fury. Definitely, you know, Jon Favreau. Definitely, you know, Happy Hogan for sure. And the rest of them. And I'm glad they're still around. You know, Mysterio too. I'm really liking Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. It looks great. So what'd you think about the trailer? Let me know in the comments. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I hope it's better than Homecoming, even though Homecoming was fun. Didn't age too well, but it's a fun film. And I think Far From Home could be better because there seems to be more emotional weight in this one, and that's going to be good. So thank you again, and I'll talk to y'all real soon.